come on in because today we are doing a recap review of the exit interview with Herbert from Ready to Love. He did one with Chris Lexo. I got to watch it the other day, and I just came here to talk about it. Y'all know all season long I was calling Herbert the time waster. The time waster. So did I change my mind? Not really. I really didn't change my mind. But I did get a little bit more information. So I can refine my position on Herbert. If you in your 30s or your 40s, yes, Herbert is a time waster. But if you in your 20s, you got time for Herbert. You got time with Herbert because let me tell you, Herbert is slow as a tortoise. Herbert is slow as a turtle. One thing I will say is I do think all the women got him wrong. All the women kept saying they thought Herbert was a playboy. He's out here running the streets. I don't think that. I actually never thought it. I never got those vibes from him that he was a playboy. Herbert's just slow, y'all. He's a slow decision maker. That's what he is. He's a very slow decision maker. You know, I know because it was a couple of things, a couple of stories he told. I was like, oh, he's a slow decision maker. First of all, I saw him on the show and I could tell he struggles making up his mind. He struggles, so he needs a lot of time. But that's dangerous for a woman in her 30s or 40s, a man who needs a whole lot of time. Because what happens is he goes out with you, he dates you, he likes you, but he still hasn't decided whether or not you're the one. So he takes a whole lot of time. By the time he figures out that you're really not the one, you've been in a relationship with him for 4 years. That's why I call him a time waster, because he takes too much time. Now, if you're in your 20s, you can sit around for 3 years if you want to. I wouldn't, but at least you got the time to do it. But when you're in your 30s, your 40s, you ain't got time to be spending 4 hours with Herbert only for him to get to the end of the road and say, you know what? I thought about it. I finally figured it out. And yeah, no, you ain't the one for me. That's why I call him a time waster. I'm going to still keep it at he is a time waster. Who knew that Herbert was only 37? I swear I thought Herbert was in his 40s. I thought Herbert was in his 40s, y'all. I think it's the dreads. And talk about taking a long time to make a decision. He still can't decide what he's going to do with his dreads. He said he had them for 12 years. And he's been talking about cutting them for a long time. But he can't figure out if he wants to cut them or not. I know. I'm telling you, Herbert, he get wrapped up in decisions. It take him a long time to decide. Ladies, how often do you change your hair? Shoot, I change my hair every 3 months. Herbert said it's taken him 12 years to figure out whether or not he wants to cut these dreads off. They darn near down to his ankles. But he's still trying to decide if he's going to cut these dreads off. Herbert, cut them off. Cut off the dreads. They're too long. They're going to be down to the floor pretty soon. They're going to be like a ball gown pretty soon before Herbert decides whether or not he wants to cut those dreads. And he told another story where he couldn't decide. He couldn't decide if he was going to come on the show or not. He couldn't decide if or not he was going to come on the show, if he was going to actually submit an application. And then guess what happened? His friend had to submit the application. Like I said, Herbert gets stuck in decisions. He can't decide. His friends know it. So his friends say, you know what? This guy's going to take forever to make a decision. So I'm going to go ahead and start the application and send it in. Because if we wait on him to make a decision, the deadline's going to pass. Herbert, them kind of people that shouldn't even be on dating shows. You ever watch these other shows? A lot of my people, we watch Married at First Sight. We watch all these dating shows together. When you are a person who's slow to warm up, real slow to warm up, you're not made for dating shows. Dating shows move fast. You got to make decisions fast. You got to be able to go with some other type of skill, gut, intuition, something. You don't have time to sit here, analyze. And people got time to wait on you. That's what happens in Married at First Sight. People come over there talking about, I'm slow to warm up. Well, it's only 8 weeks. You ain't got 8 weeks to warm up. That's Herbert. Herbert wants to take it slow. Just like he said he's not used to dating multiple women at one time. I believe him because he's slow. Herbert would frustrate a lot of women. He's slow. His process is slow. I don't think he does date multiple women at one time because that would mean for him to be quick. He got to be quick to be able to adjust to all these different women, and Herbert's not quick. He's slow. You know, on my last video, I was talking about people who want people who don't want them. I'm going to put Herbert in that bucket. Herbert is a person who wants a person that don't want him. Herbert said on here he wants a person that's emotionally intelligent. Herbert. I consider myself to be an emotionally intelligent person. And Herbert, let me tell you something. You would frustrate me. Because emotionally intelligent people, they're so in tune with their emotions, they actually can figure out their emotions fast. And when you're dealing with a person like Herbert who takes forever and ever to figure out their emotions, you get frustrated with them. So Herbert over here won a person that I don't even know if that person would want Herbert. I think what Herbert really wants is a person who's emotionally regulated. Now, emotional regulation is good. That does come with emotionally intelligent people. But emotionally intelligent people are also so in tune with their emotions. Not only are they able to figure out their emotions fast, they're able to talk about their emotions, speak about their emotions, and they want a partner who can do the same. And Herbert, like he said, he ain't even no good communicator. He said it on the show. He said it on the interview. One of the things he's not good at is communication. Well, why would an emotionally intelligent person want to be with a person who can't communicate? Once again, another person who wants somebody who don't want them. Herbert said he liked his women feisty. That's why he liked Janelle. Remember, he was like, "Oh, Janelle's a whole thug. Come on over here, thug." Why do you think he liked Janelle? Why do y'all think he liked Janelle? You know why? Because Janelle lets her emotions hang out on her sleeves. So he can sit back, regulate his emotions, hold all his emotions, and Janelle can be out here in front doing all the work. See, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes people want people for a crutch. They want people for a crutch, but the problem is people don't always want you using them as their crutch. They don't always want you using them as a crutch. I think Herbert definitely wants a person who is emotionally regulated, which is why he wouldn't have gotten along with Janelle, because Janelle pops off. Janelle pops off a little bit too much, and that would have been a lot for him to handle, because Herbert does like to stay right here. He likes to stay cool and chill. That would have upset him with Janelle. But he does like that feistiness of a woman, because that woman does all the work. She can pull him along. You know, when there's excitement that's needed for something, she can take the lead on the excitement, and he can sit back and lay back and catch up later. Ooh, so you got to be a woman who's ready to be out front in the lead, and then Herbert's way back here, and you got to be the woman who's willing to wait for Herbert to catch up with you. But he's going to want you because he's going to want a person to be out in the lead first so he can hang back. A woman that wants to hang back, she going to need him to be out in the lead. That's why he's talking about his top connections were Janelle, Lee, and Katarina. None of them was good fits for him. None of them. Janelle ain't a good fit. One is because Janelle wants to have a baby. She wants to have one soon. And like we know, Herbert takes a long time to make a decision. And when I say take a long time to make a decision, it could be a yes or a no. It don't matter. Just give me one. Yes or no. Give me a decision. But long time? No. People ain't sitting around with that. Because if it's a yes, then women don't know what to do with the yes. If it's a no, women can do something with the no. But what Herbert does is he don't give you no decision at all. Just like he don't return no text to these women. He wasn't calling. He wasn't returning no text. You know why? He's thinking. He's thinking. He needs time. He says he likes to go out on romantic dates. He likes to slow it down. Of course you do, Herbert. We know. Herbert don't want nothing fast. Herbert don't want no speed dating. He don't want no process like this. He wants to go out on long, drawn-out dates talking about he's romantic. Boy, that's just a stall tactic. That's just a stall tactic. And he wouldn't have been good with Lee either, because Lee gonna need somebody to pull her out. You see, Lee ain't hardly got no conversation. Lee needs somebody to drag her along. Lee the same way. Maybe once she gets there, she's fun. Lee kept telling us all season she was fun. So Lee is probably a slow starter too. They wouldn't have been no good match. Not at all. Who's going to be talking? Herbert ain't talking. Herbert ain't even calling back. And Lee ain't talking. Please. That let me say would have gone nowhere. And then Kat over here, we already figured her out. She wants somebody to pay all the bills. Herbert ain't doing that. He said he want to be the financial provider, but he don't want to provide at the level Katarina's talking about. Katarina's talking about paying no bills. Zero. Zip. Nada. I can see how Herbert has a lot of ladies out here because he's tall. What is he? He's really articulate. You know, is that what they say? Oh, he's so articulate. He's articulate. He's able to talk, in like this sort of intelligent way. I can see, but in the end, it'd be all out of this, ladies. In the end, he wouldn't be doing nothing. It'd be a whole lot of talk, a little bit of action. So if you're good with that in your 20s and you got time for a whole lot of talk and a little bit of action, then you know what? Herbert's your guy. Herbert is your guy. But he's going to run into a problem. He's now 37 years old. The type of age of women that he's going to be dating are going to be women that don't have all this time to waste. This system he got worked when he was dating women in their 20s. Because women in their 20s, they got time. But now that he's 37, he's running up against women who are in their 30s, 31, 32, all the way up to Janelle's age, 42. They ain't got time for all this long decision making. I don't know what Herbert's going to do. I really don't, because he's not gonna follow the lead of no impulsive woman, a woman who says, yeah, let's just go for it. Let's just do it, Herbert. He ain't gonna do that because Herbert still wants to be the leader. He still wants to be in charge. He ain't no punk. He ain't gonna let no woman run over him. So he's still going to slow down on that. But then another person who says, who's gonna want to go slow with him, she ain't gonna be feisty enough for him. She ain't gonna have enough get up and go, enough whatever. Nah, because he said, Sierra was somewhat of a match for him too. But I think the reason why he turned off from Sierra is because he likes a person who's a little bit more feisty. That's what I think. We found out with Sierra. Sierra's actually a sensitive person on the inside. She leads with all these jokes, and that gets her put in the friend zone a lot. But deep down underneath Sierra, when I saw her opening up with Phil and that one little thing, I learned a lot about Sierra. Sierra's really sweet and innocent and very emotional in the inside. If you think back to all the stories she had, she connects with people. She talked about how, she talks to her mother every single day. Sierra's a person of the heart. And Herbert, he's not really a person of the heart. He really not. I think a part of it deep down inside, to be honest with you, I'm going to tell you what I think is a real root cause. I don't want to psychoanalyze him too much, but I think Herbert is scary. He's fearful. People told me last time, don't use that word scary. Where are my smart people? I got so many smart commenters and viewers on my channel. Y'all give me the right word again. But I think what Herbert does is he protects himself. That's why he takes so long to make these emotional decisions. He really does. A part of him is fearful of things, fearful of regret. I don't know what it is. It's something, but he avoids decisions. Just like with cutting his hair. When you're fearful of something, sometimes it's the smaller things to the big things. It really is. It could be small things. It could be big things. And I don't know. I think Herbert, a part of him is also a protection mechanism. I think he's protecting himself. I think he said he's getting a little bit better, learning how to express himself. But deep down inside, all that sort of not communicating, not talking, not saying something before he's ready, really letting all his thoughts just churn and churn and churn and churn. It's like a fear of making a bad decision. You ever meet somebody and they're in analysis paralysis where they're fearful of the decision, or they're fearful of what would happen with the decision. So then they just stay stuck. They can't make a decision because they're so afraid of making mistakes. I don't know. Is Herbert a risk taker? What does Herbert do for a living? Is he a risk taker? I would say not. I would say that Herbert's not a risk taker. I would say that he's probably must be in some job where he doesn't have to take a whole lot of risk. That's what I would think. He doesn't come off as a risk taker to me. He doesn't come off as a person who's just going to go for it. And nothing's wrong with it. Nothing's wrong. Let me tell you something. Herbert is actually the type of guy that if he took 5 years to decide and he finally chose you, he'd probably make a really good husband. Probably make a good husband because he's not impulsive. He's not going to impulsively and leave you. He's not going to make decisions impulsively that could be negatively affect you. But what you'd have to do is you'd have to wait and wait and wait for that real good decision that he has. And then hopefully that decision was to choose you. But I think what happens with Herbert is he dates the wrong women. And finally, when he comes to his conclusion, he realizes, oh, she's not the one for me. Like he said, he just realized in his last relationship, he needs a woman who's emotionally intelligent. But I think what he meant was emotionally regulated. He probably went out with some feisty woman because that's what he likes. And these feisty women are popping off. And what he realizes is it's a little bit too much for him. It's too much on a daily basis. That's fun for a day here, a day two, but he can't live in that world. He can't live in that world. He likes it. He's attracted to it initially because it seems fun. It seems outgoing, just like Janelle, fun, outgoing. And that's what he needs initially in the relationship. He needs a woman to carry the emotional load initially in the relationship. But then as he starts to feel more comfortable and he's now ready to start opening up, her emotions become too much because her emotions are taking up all the space. You hear what I'm saying, people? Initially, her emotions taking up all the room are good for him because he can sit back. He can watch her with all her emotions. She's all the entertainment. He doesn't have to do anything. He's not ready to do anything. Like I said, he's slow. But then as he starts to feel more comfortable, because he does feel more comfortable, as he starts to want to come out his shell more, share more, next thing he knows, this woman's not ready to take a back seat now. So now he ain't got no room in the relationship because now he's ready to express himself, but the woman's emotions are too big in the room. That's why he got a dilemma. That's what he's attracted to the feisty woman, but long term, that's really not the woman he needs to be with. Really not, because that woman would even get frustrated with him with his slow decision making. Feisty people who have a lot of energy, people who are quick-minded, people who are emotionally intelligent, who can figure out their emotions fast. They don't want to be sitting on a bench on a rock waiting for Herbert to catch up. That's frustrating. Absolutely not. Sometimes Herbert's, his indecisiveness can also come off like he don't care. That's what it looks like. When people don't make decisions, you don't know if it's a yes or no. So a lot of people just assume this is no. That means you don't care. He's probably read wrong by a lot of women. A lot of women. A lot of women probably would say, oh, Herbert's not interested, like on this show. When really what it was no, he just hasn't made up his mind and if he's interested. It's not a no, but it's also not a yes. He lives right here in the middle. That's frustrating for people. Some people like the yes or the no. Give me the yes or the no. They don't like people who live here in the middle. That's where Herbert lives. That's where Herbert camps out, right there in the middle, in between the yes and the no. He camps out there all day long, all year long. He was shocked that he went home. Why would he be shocked? You know why? Because he don't see himself. So I keep telling people they don't see themselves. Why would you be shocked that you would go home? These women on this show know this show is quick. People need to make decisions quickly. They're looking for a yes or a no, and you're living in the middle. You're going home. They would rather keep a man who's a no than a man who's in the middle, because at least they know that man's a no is a no. Herbert lives right here, and what Herbert wants is a whole bunch of time to figure out. Women say, we ain't got that much time on this show. This show is only 2 weeks. How long is filming? 2 weeks? They didn't have that much time. 2 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know how long they filmed for. 4 weeks. They said, we don't have all this time for you, Herbert, to be figuring out even if you want to call somebody back. And he talking about he was surprised he was going home. If he would have looked at what women wanted, he wouldn't have been surprised. Like I told on my video before, when I was talking about people know what they want, but they don't realize the people they want don't want them. If he had known these women wanted decisive men, he would have known then he wasn't for these women. He ain't for nobody here. Don't matter if he would have stayed. He should have said no too. Even if he would have stayed here a little bit longer, his answer should have been a no too. Herbert is on simmer. You know how you put a pot of beans on or something in a crock pot? Herbert's a crock pot. He's on simmer. Put it in the morning, come back in 8 hours, and finally be ready. That's Herbert on simmer. So if you want a man on simmer, you in your 30s and you got you in your 20s or something, you got a whole lot of time to simmer, call Herbert up. Call Herbert up. He might be a good catch for you. Anyway, that's it, y'all. Talk to you later. Bye.